You're listening to Beauty, Strength, and Dominance, the official podcast of Lingerie Fighting Championships. And now, here's your host, Michael Larkin.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another edition of Beauty, Strength, and Dominance, the official LFC Lingerie Fighting Championships podcast. My name is Mike Larkin, and joining me today is LFC Prospect, one of the hottest prospects out there, along with her cohort, Miss Farah Fatherless, the one, the only Snow the Salt Queen. How are you, Snow?
Doing good. Hi.
First of all, it's a pleasure to have you on the show. You have made quite a storm in the rankings and the close to the top 5 in the LFC rankings here. You've really made your mark thus far, and a lot of people really are looking forward to seeing your debut in LFC along with Farah. So one of the most anticipated cosplaying type fights in LFC. I can't wait till that day happens.
I'm super excited.
I mean, I got to say this first and foremost for you. For those who have not checked out Snow, whether it be Twitter, Instagram, you, my friend, the cosplaying scene, just everything that encompasses what you do. You put a lot of time, you put a lot of creativity and passion to it. So let's start off from the beginning here. What kind of gravitated you towards cosplaying? Because there's so much great characters, there's anime, there's imagination that goes into it. What really hooked you?
Well, honestly, I had no idea what cosplay was. And I just was super into Homestuck, which is like an indie comic. It's kind of bigger now, but at the time, nobody knew what it was. And I was super, super into it. And I just begged my mom to let me dress up as the characters for Halloween. And then it kind of turned into not just Halloween. I was just wearing it all the time. And then my friends were like, "Oh, you're cosplaying." And I was like, "Cosplay? What's that?" So then I learned about it and I was like, "Oh my God, there's a whole group of people that do this thing. I'm going to involve myself 100%.
See, I also like that because I remember when the real hit, you had your Digimons and everybody talked about Yu-Gi-Oh and the Pokemon cards. That was my early introduction to stuff like that. But I also was kind of curious to the fact that what I love about it too is as well, you see in card games, everybody loves Magic the Gathering, or you see everybody dresses as Harry Potter. There's stuff like that that really hooks you, and a lot of people get to show their uniqueness with it. It's become so, it fluctuated with Comic-Con and everything. It's really become such a happening thing for people, not just to meet and really network and socialize, but there's something for everybody. And it's a tight-knit group in the cosplaying world. You don't really unize the unity that really goes into everything.
Yeah, a lot of other if you go out to an event that's like a concert, or you go to an event that's I don't know, a bar or something, you're gonna see people that you don't know. You're gonna be surrounded by people who you don't know, they're strangers. Even if you go to the same artist concert, if you go to 4 Melody Martinez concerts, the likelihood that you're gonna run into people that you ran into last night are so slim. But you go to a con, you know everybody there. And once you've gone to 3 or 4 cons, you go to con, you're like, I know you, and it's everybody knows each other. So for someone who's, I wouldn't call myself introverted, but I don't love hanging out with a bunch of random strangers. It is nice to be able to see familiar faces, know people, know who I get along with, and just be able to vibe in a situation where it's again, much more of a closer knit community.
I think what's great about it too as well, and you bring out it's funny because I grew up on Long Island, and one of the big cons out there was the LI Con, and there's this dude, his name is Robert. For those who don't know, he's the Peter Griffin guy. He's known for dressing like Peter Griffin. He shows up at all these cons as Peter Griffin. He could do the voice and the adaptation of it. I think with you as well, first and foremost here, we talk about Jinx and Vi over here. That's become one of your signatures. I mean, you've done Deku, you've done so many great stuff that comes into it. I think it becomes a world of its own, and you've really taken on as a life as its own of how you want to showcase yourself from an image standpoint, but also as a content creator and influencer. So I got to give you the utmost sincerity and respect with what you do, because it really does influx and gravitate towards a lot of people.
Thank you. Yeah, a lot of people ask me how do I pick out the characters I like to cosplay and whatnot. And honestly, I just see a character on screen and I'm like, oh, it's that one. That one's getting turned into a costume. So in terms of creating a character, it's I just know immediately what resonates with me. I see a character and I'm just I know I can pull that off. I know that that's going to be fun to do.
I mean, and I gotta say, one of the popular ones that I've seen of yours, and I gotta give you much kudos again on this. Like, you pull off Harley Quinn also very well. Like, you've done some Harley Quinn stuff in your past. Like, and here's why I love it. Harley Quinn is just such a great look. It's the counteract of what we get to see of superheroes and supervillains. I mean, we start off back with Batman and Superman, Robin, and all these people from just everything that goes into the Marvel, the Avengers, what have you. But that particular look, like, she's just such a unique look. There's also just different extensions and overall aesthetics that go into the look. I think you pull that off well as well, because a lot of people love them some Harley Quinn. I mean, who doesn't?
Who doesn't love Harley Quinn? Harley was actually one of my first cosplays that, like, after I knew what cosplay was. It was, I'll be completely real, it was terrible. I didn't have a wig. I was wearing like pajama clothes because that was the only thing I had. I was like 15 years old. I didn't know how to do makeup. I didn't know how to do anything, but I had a baseball bat and I could put my hair in pigtails, and I was like, I am Harley. And it was recognizable as Harley, which is like, her design is so iconic that like you can do a billion things to it. You can make her different colors and you still know it's Harley, just like based on like her iconic, the pigtail and like the half and half like clothes colors. And I love her design. It's peak for me.
The chef's kiss, if you will. I like your
Chef's
style.
kiss, absolutely.
What I like about it too is as well, and I think this goes with anybody's look and the overall imagery of what they want to project. I mean, I'll give you an example because pop culture, the Barbie movie is very popular. You know, everything that goes into the Barbie movie, it's music, it's style, it's everything. And everybody's so accustomed to the Barbie style. If you look at like a models from back in the day, like your Tyra Banks, your Naomi Campbell, your America's Next Top Model, pop culture has always had a certain look, if you will, about how they want to project things from an image standpoint. But when you see someone like Harley Quinn, or if you see someone like, you look at anything that goes toward the goth realm or everything from the rock standpoint, different genres in music, if you have that uniqueness and everything to differentiate, that gravitates, I would say, a lot more people. Because I mean, if you have the ability to really be yourself, be unique and be different, that just shows like just you're willing to take a chance, you have the courage and you have the perseverance to just be who you are. And I think the authenticity is really what we see now in today's day and age.
Yeah, you know, like if you're just trying to look like someone else, like you're not really not going to be able to show your best because you're showing someone else's best. That's not even you. You should like I definitely agree that like when people like curate their own style and don't try to like fit into a specific niche and like do their own thing, they end up like 50 times more like interesting and like appealing to like so many more people. Like doing your own like whole thing is in my mind just way more interesting than just like, I don't know, I've said like 200 times in that sentence.
No, I get it. I completely agree. And before we get back to this topic here, first and foremost, cat alert, folks, because for those who have not seen this show, first of all, my cat's sleeping on my bed. My cat likes to interrupt as well. So it's what happens when you have the beautiful pets that are cats and kittens, if you will. What is the cat's name? I saw him in the background there.
This is Sal. He is my baby.
Oh,
no, you want to cuddle and now you don't. He is the most temperamental animal where he'll love you and love you and love you, and then the second he's done, he's just like, get away from me.
I will.
That cat horseshoes me. He wakes me up in the middle of the night by like just biting at me, and I'm like, what do you want? He's like, I want you to pet me. Pets, please. It's like, it's 3 a.m.
The love bites at 3 o'clock in the morning. Yes.
Oh yeah, like just biting on my face softly until I wake up, and I'm like, what? And he's like,
I will say this, for those who have not seen the LFC calendar, the last pets of the LFC, a lot of cats were featured in that one. So I think we just got an early interpretation. If we do pets of LFC 2, there you go right there. Include some salad, the friggin' it's snow up in there in the calendar, man. I like it.
that would be awesome. I don't know how good of a model he'd be, but we could try. He hates pictures. He never holds still long enough to take a good picture of him.
We had a funny story recently. So another fellow prospect is also in the mix with you, Riley Jade, who is one of the top prospects, if not the top prospect right now in LFC. She just did the calendar for the pets of LFC. She has even said like her cat, who she's had for years now, would not sit still, just did not want to have their picture taken. It's temperamental. I get it. I've had that with my cats too. It's something about the temperamental in cats, but you got to love them at the same time, right?
I've got one cat that'll let you take pictures of her all day long.
Really?
She'll sit there, she'll let you take pictures, she'll let you take a video of her, she'll let you cuddle her in a video, whatever you want. Him? No. Mm-mm. He won't do it.
Well, I gotta say that's the beauty of animals, folks, and our companions, if you will, from the feline point of view. But I gotta say, going back to what we were mentioning there, I gotta say what I love about the differentiate as well is you look at it in school, right? Like a lot of people have different groups and sets in schools, like we talk about differentiating. Like you look at someone like the goth, and you think of them like just, oh, that's weird. That's like, what are they doing over there? But what's really cool about it is, as I've always found, if you're part of the get along gang, is what I used to like to call it. Like you get along with everybody, you just really go. It doesn't matter what set, doesn't matter what group or whatever you look on the top or echelon, if you will, in your overall class system. I think what's great is you can learn something, and I equate this to anything. Like you can learn something from everybody, and you always are constantly adapting and growing. So if you're a part of the get along gang, if you will, you meet great people, but also you're adapting and growing as a person and getting to adapt and to grow and really expand your horizons, because I think that's more than ever needed in today's day and age.
I mean, yeah, I would agree. I wish like I don't know. I moved schools like halfway through high school, so like I like went from one friend group to a completely other friend group, and I was a weird kid. I was strange. I wore cosplay to school, like So a lot of people kind of looked at me and they were like, "What's that kid doing over there?" And I wasn't like outwardly aggressive really to anybody. I feel like, except the people who were just mean. But unfortunately, it's like on one hand, I would like everybody to get along, but on the other, some people are just mean. And I wish like they would not be, but it is kind of a fact of life that there will be mean people.
Unfortunately, and I will say this, and first of all, it's a good weird. We're going to put that out here, folks. So she said she was weird. I'll say it's a good weird because we're all weird in our own different ways and unique, but it's a good weird. And I think what's great about it too is as well, unfortunately, like people say crap about LFC, people say crap or whatever, because people just either they're ignorant or number two, I mean, everybody has a different flavor of ice cream. Everybody, it's not everybody's cup of tea, but also at the end of the day, and I've always been told this, if you got nothing nice to say, then don't say it at all. But unfortunately, the haterade is being drank a lot in today's society, to put it bluntly.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what high school is like right now, because like I've been graduated for so long.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like when I was in high school, we were slowly phasing out of the clickiness and slowly phasing out of like everybody not getting along. Because like my senior year versus my freshman year were like night and day of different cliques and stuff. By the senior year, everyone had pretty much chilled out, and I hadn't seen it as much in the freshman. But from what I hear now, it's kind of swinging the other way, which, that's how the pendulum works with like social whatever. But hopefully that means that when it swings the other way next time, people will be even more inclusive and even more accepting.
That's how I feel about it, because it's funny you bring that up, because I'm even looking at the trajectory of when I graduated high school, because it's been 13 years since I graduated. Like 2007 was my freshman year in high school. You see it, folks. I mean, with the influx of social media that would later come on, like I've always noticed, like from ninth grade, again, you're trying to find that level of acceptance. And then as you get upper in the grades, like my senior year, everybody was just like rather waiting to get out and graduate. We're done with this. We put in the work, so to speak. We're ready to go out into the world. Or they're just very chill. Like, you know what? There's no need to just like fucking just bully and shit. You know what I'm saying? We get older and we get wiser. I think a lot of us do. But yeah, it's very much chill once you get to your senior year, because everybody just wants to get the hell out of there and move on and see what the life takes them,
I was so lucky that I had finished enough credits that my last semester, my school day ended at 10:30. I had like 3 classes a day. And if I wanted to go to lunch, I could. And if I didn't, I could just go home.
I like your style. Okay, so we had senior privileges in high school. I remember I was so happy that I didn't have to come into like third period, which was like 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning. I remember as a senior, just that privilege, and then you just go out and have lunch, whatever you want, and you're not eating cafeteria food all day. Oh, it's the best. You know what I'm saying? It's your own world of freedom, and just like not coming in until later, having X amount of classes, folks. These senior privileges is one of the best times in high school. You dream of days like that, and parking spots. Oh, chef's kiss once more, to put it that way.
They didn't give me they gave me a parking spot, but they didn't give me a parking spot on campus. They gave me a parking spot like at a parking lot, like 3 or 4 blocks down the road, and I had to park all the way down there and walk all the way in every single morning. And I got in so much trouble by my campus, not the campus cop, but the campus like security guy for the parking lot, because I would constantly just park in people's spots who I knew were absent. Like if I knew one of my friends was gonna be absent, I was like, I'm taking your spot today. And they'd be like, sure. And then I would park there and be like, you can't do this. I was like, well, they said I could. They gave me their spot, sir. I don't want to walk all this way.
Should have just told them if you snooze, you lose. That's what it is.
Well, I didn't want to get in trouble.
I know.
They never actually towed my vehicle or anything. It was more of like a, you're not supposed to do that. I was like, I'm here for 3 more months.
Yeah, like just like could you cut us some slack like a little bit? Like we're done in like June, bro. Like did you just like give us
right? It's like February. We're almost finished here.
Yeah.
I leave at 10.
Right. Oh.
The last couple months, I found a friend whose day started at like 11:30 and my day ended at 10:30, so I could have her spot in the mornings and she could have the spot in the afternoons. It was top notch, and it was like right by the door. That one, once I found that one, it was only the last like month and a half of school, but once I found that spot, I never complained about the walk again because I didn't have to take it anymore.
Awesome. That's awesome. I like that. It close to the door. Oh my goodness. But yeah, but no, that's today's social climate and where we get to. And I mean, in today's day and age, I got to say, first and foremost, man, we're going to put this over here. LFC wants more lingerie fighting championships, folks. If you want to check out Snow's profile, you should, because LFCfights.com is the place to be, baby. You, my friend, we got to touch upon this because you and Farah Fatherless, not just about coming up and being excited to get in there. I want to ask you about LFC as a whole. It's a little bit of MMA, it's a little bit of wrestling, and it's a little bit of clothing. So I want to ask you the L part of it, and we'll get more into the costumes as well. But the L in Lingerie Fighting Championships, L, lingerie, the external beauty, the overall aesthetics, like we mentioned here. I have to ask you, Snow the Salt Queen, what is some of your favorite type of lingerie really to wear? And really that encompasses what you like and how you're feeling as far as a wardrobe style and overall style front.
It's a good question. I wear like a lot of different kinds of stuff. I do love latex, like just latex, anything. If I find an excuse to make a cosplay latex instead of whatever like it's sold normally, I will do it. I have the 002 suit in like nice red shiny latex. Like, I love it so much. It's definitely my favorite fabric. Second to latex would be fur. I love things that have fur on them. So like the little bikini tops with the little jackets that go on with the fur rims around are so cute. I love them to death. Or those little the little pink ones that have like the fur at the bottom with the little fuzzy and then the fur around the top. I love those too. Matching sets are amazing, but what I like to do is I like to buy 2 like sets that are like match the exact same and then trade out the parts. So like if I buy a pink one and a black one, and then you can have pieces of the pink one and pieces of the black one that all match the same for the same like matching set, so that they match with their different colors, so that you can get more like fun colors in there.
I like that. I like the mix and match and just everything that goes into it. Like, especially like since we're in Halloween mode, folks, it's October. You know what it is. It's spooky season. Don't act like you don't know. Like,
I got my spooky sock.
There it is. I like it. Oh my goodness. Okay. Yes, it's repping spooky season. I like your style, Snow, and I gotta say, folks, you're welcome. I gotta say, folks, if you look at the history of LFC with Halloween and everything, like 2 years we're coming across from LFC Booty Camp 3D. It was our Halloween event, and like there was a lot of great costumes that day. I mean, Lauren the Animal Fogel dressed like Jason from Freddy, from Friday the 13th. We had Laura Frazier dressing like a witch, like stuff like that. I mean, what I've always also enjoyed about Halloween, besides candy, of course, because who doesn't love them some candy, trick or treat, baby. But the fact of the matter is, like, there's so many unique costumes and people with decorations. Like, I was going down my block the other day. They like woofed it out already. Happy Halloween. There's tombstones. There's fucking skulls everywhere. I'm like, people are already going out, and I love it. I love to see just people getting creative with their outer lawn and just to see the overall house and the decorations, man.
Dude, I've always loved Halloween. It's always been my big holiday. But what's actually funny is, as a cosplayer, Halloween kind of turned into a little bit of my day off, Like, I do costumes so much, and I do so much of it that on Halloween, my Halloween costume is always so much less than the actual cosplays I do, because I don't want to just, throw on Junko and wear Junko, because I do that all the time. So, like, I do something like something fun that I don't usually do, like a Halloween version of a character, or just do like a fun witch thing. And it's always so much less complicated than my actual cosplays, and I can actually move and do stuff in them. Because like 90% of my cosplays, I can barely move. Like I'm trapped. Because everything's super tight. You know, sometimes I have corsets and like massive heels, and you know, you can't really do much. And then on Halloween, it's like I get to do costume, but not like so much that like I'm just stuck in front of a camera, because I'm actually going out. You know, I still trick or treat. I still do it. And I've had people be like, "You're too old to trick or treat," like at their door, and I'll be like, "Not really. I feel like I have a total right to trick or treat. You're giving out free candy. I might as well take some. Like, why would I go buy candy when you can just give it to me for free?"
I mean, I just turned 31, going to be 32 in April. Like, I still go with cousins, just like, hey, candy, just nah. You know what I'm saying? I'm still in that mode too. Like when I was a kid doing it. I mean, who doesn't? And I mean, people will say what they will about that, but I'm like, you're never too young for candy. You're never too old to go trick or treating. Like it's fun. You know what I'm saying? We're all just being creative, and we love Halloween, not just for the candy, but it's cool. And also, I got to ask you on this forefront here, because when you think of Halloween, you think of a lot of great movies, such as the Halloween series. We mentioned Friday the 13th. We mentioned Nightmare on Elm Street. Like I even remember the Disney coms are really big with the Halloween town and everything that encompassed that. What are some of your favorite Halloween movies? I'm kind of curious to pick your brain on that side of things.
So like Halloween specific, or just horror movies in general?
Since we're talking, okay, we'll start first since it is the month of Halloween. Halloween first, then horror.
Okay. For directly Halloween, like I know it's technically Christmas, but Nightmare Before Christmas is a Halloween movie to me.
It is.
I love the animation. I love everything about it. It's such a good movie. And then after that would be oh, don't let me blank on the name. It's the three witches.
Hocus Pocus? Hocus Pocus.
Hocus Pocus. Yes, yes. I watch that every single year. I watch it every year. I love that movie. Me, my mom, and my sister actually dressed up as the three witches during the Universal Halloween thing where you can go in costume and stuff. I did the one with black hair that goes up, and it, like we had to like take wire and like wrap my hair up in this big thing. It was so much, but we killed it. It was great.
No, I love that. And I mean, well, Hocus Pocus is always a great choice. I mean, I mentioned like the Disney stuff with Halloween Town, but you also have like, first of all, I'm a sucker for Casper just because like it's the friendly ghost and they're in the house and it's just they cause chaos. I mean, there was like a sequel to that, Casper Meets Wendy, for those that remember that one. I think a young Hilary Duff was in that one, and it was like the ghosts and the witches like coming together, so to speak, which was interesting, but I mean, it wasn't like the original. But stuff like that, like really also is really cool on the fact of like, and we mentioned like everything with witches and everything. Like it's cool just to like not just only have the imagination side of thing, creativity, but doggone man, it's really cool like to really just see stuff like that play out. And everybody likes to have a little spookiness to it, you know what I'm saying? Really get the hair on the neck standing up. And I mean, from the horror side of things, it's interesting. Like the original Halloween for me, I'll take the original Nightmare on Elm Street, but there's so many great Halloween movies. So let's go to Halloween movies next. What are some of your favorite horror movies? Excuse me.
You know, right, I just rewatched all of The Conjuring, like this whole series in chronological order, and so I'm obsessed about that right now because I'm about to go see The Nun 2 and when it hits theaters, and I am very excited. I've never watched them in chronological order. I've only ever watched them in like the order they came out, but I watched them from like the actual like date chronological order, and the timeline, so many things clicked into place in my mind. I was like, this is fucking genius. This is amazing. So I love the Conjuring universe. I'm also a fan of just the scary movie universe because it's the perfect mix of like scary but also funny. The same with Haunted House. I think that's what it's called. It's the same kind of jokey horror movie, but that one's actually a little scary. Like there are times that it's actually a little like you're like, oh, some of the jump scares are like better than the ones in Scary Movie, because in Scary Movie most of them are just laughs, but in that one it's definitely some of them actually get you.
When the cousin's coming into the house in a haunted house, what happened to your furniture, cuz? And then the furniture falls down on them. Yep.
Yeah, you're just like,
ah!
There's also Grave Encounters. That scared me so bad the first time I watched it. Which I accidentally watched the second one first, which because I just didn't know, and I was like a teenager. But the first time I watched that movie, it terrified me. I could not sleep. It was horrifying to like my 16, 17-year-old mind. It was world-shatteringly scary.
It's interesting too because again, another great movie. Like for me, like first of all, I'm a scary. Here's the thing: I love scary movie. Like each and every one is different, but it's funny. Like it also a horror comedy, kind of sort of like the original Lost Boys, not the direct to DVD Lost Boys, like the OG one from like 1987 with Corey Haim, Corey Feldman, and Jason Patrick is awesome. But I also like the Oh my God! Like they did a remake of the '70s horrors, like I Spit on Your Grave, and they made like three of them. Have you ever seen the I Spit on Your Grave movies?
Oh yeah, I've seen all of them.
That's what I'm saying. Like that one hits like differently just because it's very interesting with the stories. I mean, it's kind of the same, but it's different aspects and interpretations. That's not bad. I mean, there's a lot of good ones that really do stick out that I do like. But yeah, those are ones kind of like go to it. I mean, people say, like you mentioned, the Paranormal Activity. Like I kind of stopped at like, did they make like five or six? I think there was like five or six of them because it kind of just like got repetitive for me, but it kind of like brought back to the first one and the last one. I think after like a while, those kind of got a little for me, kind of equated to the Final Destination series. Were you a fan of the Final Destination and Paranormal Activity series?
I like them. I wouldn't say be like, oh my god, I'm a fan, but like, they're worth a binge sometimes, you know. So you sit down with your friends, you're like, let's binge all of them tonight. Yep. And then it's fun because you're in a group and you get to make fun of the parts you don't like and then be scared of the parts that you are scared of, and you know, it's all fun.
But it's also cool from the fact that like the Final Destination goes from like an airplane to like a racetrack, a roller coaster, and then a bridge. And like it's interesting just because like foreshadowing and like premonitions, if you will, kind of like groups them together. And it's really because a lot of people unfortunately have been in like certain situations where crashes do happen. So I mean it interpretates on life in itself. But I mean, I think that's what's great about movies as a whole. If they can make you feel, they can make you think. I think that's the overall general consensus of it. And I think that's wonderful. And I think a lot of what we just mentioned here really does perk one's interest and really elicits emotions and evokes a reaction, you know?
Mm-hmm. Oh my God. You want to hear a movie that I watched just a hair too young for me that scared me so bad that I hated it for years?
Sure.
I watched Insidious, and I did not watch any horror movies before like a certain age. Like 12 years old was my first horror movie, and I was like 15 when I watched Insidious. I was not prepared, which is insane because now I can watch pretty much anything and not be scared. But at the time, I was so scared because my mom stopped the movie halfway through because I had to go to bed for school because I was like in like middle school or freshman year. She's like, okay, we'll finish it tomorrow. And I'm just there like, tomorrow? What do you mean tomorrow? And I love my family, but they tortured me sometimes. And I went to bed and I was so scared. I was sitting in my room writing in my little journal, like, I'm so scared right now. I'm going to info dump about Harry Potter so I stopped being scared. And I just started writing everything I knew about Harry Potter to get my mind off of it. And my mom took little Legos and started throwing them at my door. So I made little sounds. And I was so terrified that eventually, after like 30 minutes of this, I come hustling out and I'm like, stop! I know you're doing it. I see the Legos. And she's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And as I turn around to walk out of the room, my stepfather has this like red puppet that he just moves around the corner. I must have woke up the whole neighborhood. I started sobbing, and they didn't mean to scare me that bad, but it was like I thought I was gonna die. I was like, oh god, the red demon's here, my life is over.
First of all, for those who've not seen the Insidious franchise, please go out of your way to see it just because it is that doggone batshit crazy. And I kind of equate it to, I'm going to say this, like you mentioned The Conjuring, and I like your style because The Nun 2 does actually look really, really good. Like I've seen the trailers for it. It looks awesome. What's the other one that's coming out? The Exorcist? There's like a new Exorcist one coming out with the two girls.
I want that too.
All right. Like this one kind of is like really like gets me, and I like it because of the trailers. Like the girls go out into the woods and then they come back and then they're like, oh, we were only gone for like a few hours. And it's like, no, you've been gone for days. Like it looks good. And I'm really interested to see how they have this interpretation of it. Like the Exorcism series always really does deliver, you know?
Oh yeah. Even from the get-go, even the first one, despite how old it is, it's still good. And that takes a good movie to like be that old and still be good. Like in terms of like scary movies at the very like peak. Like scary movies are the ones that age the fastest because of like how technology goes so fast and how much more real things can look. And I feel like horror movies get aged out faster than almost any other genre. Maybe action movies, maybe, but you know, it's mostly horror that ages out faster. And The Exorcist still packs its punch. It still knows what the fuck is up. Like, it's still like, it's a good fucking series.
Oh, agreed, man. And I mean, I remember as a kid, like I was 12 when The Exorcism of Emily Rose came out, and I'm like, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2. Like when she does the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I'm like, are you fucking shitting me right now? I remember like you with the Insidious. I remember as a 12-year-old, and she's going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm like, shit. Like she's just shouting like very viciously. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? Stop it.
Put the brakes.
Off the brakes. Like, stop fucking counting. Like, oh my god! For those who've not seen it, and I know we're spoiling a movie that's like over almost 20 years old now, but if you've not, it's all good. The Exorcism of Emily Rose is really an interesting one, just to see, like, again, trying to get the demon out of her, and then there's the scene where she gets possessed, and she just keeps saying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 over and over again, and it's the creepiest, most terrifying thing I've ever seen in my life. You got to go watch it if you've not seen it, if you're a horror fan, because Exorcism of Emily Rose is pretty doggone good. Oh, but yes, back to something that will not make you hide under the blankets at night. Let's get back to the positive side of things.
Right, what we're supposed to be talking about.
Yeah, no, you're fine. We always go off the cuff here with this. And like I said, I love that. We're getting to know you more. But Snow, I got to put this over as well. Speaking of Jinx and Vi here, I got to see, I've seen a lot of the League of Legends, and I've seen a lot of the stuff with Arcane on Netflix. I'll be honest with you, before we got on here, I saw the Jinx and Vi, like where they meet, like on Netflix and stuff, and watching that scene. There's a lot of good stuff out there for those who've never seen it. It's a really interesting story. And I remember League of Legends and the video games that used to come out back in the day, which were also very good from the video game side of things. Talk about Jinx and Vi with you and Farah, because you two, if you're not seeing Twitter, great photo shoots, looking good, really putting the foot and stomping on your victim there in the photo. It looks good. The images came out great, man. Talk about Jinx and Vi and how that kind of hooks between the two of you, because you two had a great shoot together.
So when they first invited me to do it, they were like, what do you think that we should do? And I was like, trying to think of characters that I could feasibly fight in, because like so many of my cosplays are so like restrictive that I was like, oh man, that'd be really hard. And then I just kind of realized she is so tall, and like Farah's big. I'm kind of scared to fight Farah. I'm not gonna lie. She's gonna like just throw me. But you know, we she's not gonna like hurt me. I hope. But I was like, oh my god, you know, it would be perfect, Jinx and Vi. And Farah's like, man, I don't know how, like, would you be a good Vi? I was like, I meant the other way. And she's like, oh my god, yes. And immediately, you know, because like, especially when I have the boots on, we're basically the same size. She's got a couple more inches on me, which is perfect for the Jinx and Vi vibe. And she's just, I don't know, it's like she's just built perfect for Vi. And like, she'd pull off a great Jinx too, don't get me wrong. But when I one of the first things I saw when I like met her, I was like, oh my god, I have to figure out how to get her to cosplay Vi, because I want to cosplay Jinx with her. It's kind of horrible. Like, as a cosplayer, sometimes you meet someone and you're just like, so, could I put you in this costume?
well, that's the thing. It's like, how do you pitch that? Like, if you're a cosplayer, it's just like, hey, we want you to wear this. Can you wear this for me, please?
You just gotta be like, oh my god, you know who you would look great as? Fill in the blank. Yep. Would you ever cosplay that? I'd buy it for you if you want.
Like a pitch salesman, yes.
Yeah, you gotta pitch it. You gotta give them the perfect pitch of like, this is good for your bone structure, your height. You'd be good for this reason, and that's why I think that you should do this character, and let me do this one, and let's take pictures together.
You had me at bone structure, man. You see, if you pitched that to me and you said this height is the bone structure, you had me right there, because that's just that's like the details right there. So talk about bone structure up in here, yes, but it's very true. And all right, I got to put this over here because you mentioned all right, for those who've not seen Farah, not just like in person, but just in a woman's like 6 foot something tall. Like, we got to bring up the height factor here, dude. We got to bring up the height factor here, because I see the tail of the tape between you two, and it's something. It's David and Goliath as well, but I think with your style and hers, because she knows a good fight game and combative style. Let's talk about your style here, man. Like, it's MMA, it's wrestling, what have you. What can we expect from you when we get in there, man? Because you're feisty, you're spunky, you got the speed. So I'm curious, how are we going to see you go against Farah with overall taking her down, just the kicks and everything, the holds? What are we looking at here, Scott?
Well, without giving too much away. Like, I don't want to like spoil my plans, but I will say that the second I can get her on the ground, I gain a little bit more advantage. When we're going to be standing up, that's going to be when I'm going to be having a little on the ropes there. But if I can manage to get her to the ground, which like it's a task, she's a little bit of a mountain, but I feel like I can do it. I feel like I can get her down to my level. We got to get her down to where I can reach.
I think so as well. You'll be like the friggin' roadrunner up there. Meet, just friggin' just running. Yep.
Dodge and weave.
Dodge and weave, yes. Oh my goodness. But no, that's really going to be good, folks. When we get to the next LFC event and cosplaying it up, man, I think you two not only going to be a bout of the night, but it's such a featured bout that it has a lot of people excited because this is what we do at LFC, folks. We give you cosplay, we give you we give you a lot of amazing, beautiful talents. So I mean, that's the beauty of LFC. And besides LFC fan art is one of those things that really sticks out. He's on the LFC VIP section. He's an amazing drawer. He's amazing talent. Tommy Bell Art, shout out to our boy Tommy, did an amazing drawing of yourself and Farah. It came out so good.
It's so good. It's one of my favorite fan arts that's been made of me ever. Like, I've had a lot of fan art of people making of me, but that one, like, it looks like me. It doesn't just look like someone drew the pose that, like, I'm in with the character. Like, it looks like my face. And I was like, whoa, I drew, like, my whole face, like, looks like me. Holy shit. It's amazing. It's top notch. Like 10 out of 10. It's like one of the best things I've ever seen in my life.
Tommy Bell Note has drawn a lot of the LFC ladies, including the prospects such as yourself and Farah. He's always very much to the detail of just the image, how it looks, what can I color in. He's literally like Bob Ross, but without the with the happy trees, pretty much is the best way I can describe it, and without the fro. So I mean, he's one of those guys that's just a whiz with the pencil, and I can't wait to see his next artwork. But no, he nailed you to a T. And if you guys have not checked out the artwork on Tommy's social media, and especially this one over here, Talk About Her Fan Art, go out of your way and check it out because it is beautifully done. And Tommy works his magic as always. But I got to ask you, besides Tommy's fan art in general, I mean, you look at just everybody who's a fan or who's an appreciator of one's line of work. For you, just the fan art of drawings and what you've done in post as well, that's got to make you feel good because a lot of fan mail is one that's wonderful. The term fanatic gets brought up. But dang, man, just everybody just really appreciating the work, whether it be fan mail or ever, you got to love it, man. You got to respect the craft. And a lot of people respect that craft.
I love fan art of me. Actually, here, just give me 1 second. Let me show you this.
Okay, I cannot wait to see this. Hit me.
Someone commissioned this for my birthday. It's my Junko cosplay.
That is dope. That is very, very dope. I like that.
I keep it in its little plastic wrap because I'm so scared of it getting ruined. But it's so cool. I keep it hung up in my room.
Well, that's the thing, too. Now, you know you're dedicated to it when you keep it in the wrapping because you don't want it to get ruined. It's like, and I'll make an example of this in pop culture, like when Steve Carell was Andy in the 40-Year-Old Virgin, like when he had the $1 Million Man, Steve Austin, and every one of his toys like wrapped up because it ruins it. Like that is legit a thing, people. You don't want to ruin it in the wrapping. Like that's just how good it is and how precise it is. You don't want to ruin it. That happens with every collector ever out there, you know?
Oh my God. I have so many figures that I refuse to take out of the box. Like I can't. If I take them out of the box, what if they get hurt? I had one figure break a little piece off, and ever since then I can't take anything out of the box. God, what if it falls? What if it breaks? Then I'm gonna cry.
A lot of people did that. Like as I was a wrestling fan to this day, like if you gave me like the Rock and Stone Cold and it's just like a nice package like from the action figures, like I am not getting the Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin messed up because again, two prominent figures in wrestling. But you know how much money those are gonna be worth, and especially like from the video game side of things, like Attitude Era video games, like stuff from like the PS1 and Game Boy and all these video game stuff. Like you cannot ruin that. Like it's so precious, it's timeless, man.
No, like keeping things in their packages, like just first of all, it improves its value,
Yes.
and second of all, it like just keeps it intact, and you could still see what it is. You could still see in the package and see it's there, so like you know it's there. I've now come to whenever I buy stuff for my, I love Tomura Shigaraki from My Hero Academia, and I've got like you could call it a shrine. I have a lot of merch for him. But whenever I buy a new figure for him, I buy two. and I buy one to take out, and I buy one to leave in its box. And then I just put the one that I take out on top of the box so that like it looks like it's out of the box, but it's not. It's secretly in the box. Like it's intact. It's safe.
Now, I got to say this because you brought it up. First of all, academia, I kind of got into this because there's a lot of talent out there, and I've met them with a lot of influence and content creators really like that anime. It gets a lot of high praise, and I've seen it. It's very interesting, and it just really does also bring a lot of unity together, but also really equates to a lot of things that happen with life issues. Like, it's very like deep, but also at the same time, it really has a great story and a plot to it. Like, academia is very underrated for nobody who's ever seen it. Like, it's actually really, really good.
Yeah, no, I love the League of Villains. Like, League is my shit. I love them to death. Like, they are everything to me for the series. Like, I also like Bakugo, and there's a few other characters that I really like, but like for me, it is the League. It is Tomura, it is Toga, it is Spinner, it is Dabi, Mr. Compress. Like, I love them all so much. Like, I've had so much merch of them and so much stuff, and like I have cosplayed the three main ones, which is Dabi, Toga, and Tomura. I've tried to put together a Mr. Compress cosplay, but it's weirdly expensive. Like, it's actually really weirdly expensive to cosplay him. Like, that jacket is no joke. It's gonna cost me like $200 to get it, so I have to hold off on that for a little while.
Okay, so now I got to ask you here because there's a lot of collectors out there. I'm curious because you mentioned it being $200, a lot of money, very expensive with a lot of stuff that goes into the aesthetics. But I got to ask you, what's like the most you've ever spent on like cosplaying like these outfits? Because again, like you find these outfits, it's rare. We talk about the preciseness and everything that goes with the overall style and wardrobe. What's like some of the highest stuff that you've ever spent on cosplaying? I'm kind of curious about that because there's a lot that goes into the attire, man.
One of the most expensive things would be my Junko wig.
Okay.
Each wig is $30.
All right.
And I bought, I don't know, by this point, 30 wigs that I pull them off of their clips and I sew them together. So at this point, I've lost count of how many I bought. I have bought too many over years and years. She's huge. She's massive. And also, I have one and my partner has one. So there's two of these massive wigs in my house. It's got to be at least $1,500 fucking dollars of hair. It really does. But it's over the course of like 5 years that I've spent it, like $30 here, $30 here, buying another one, adding it in. But no, it is so massive. And also, I've tried to make her wig in other styles, which I just didn't like, and I ended up never using them. I tried to do the style where it like you use the crimper and the hairspray. I didn't like that. I tried to use the style where you use a foam ball in the middle and you do the different stuff. Didn't like that. So those are also money I've spent on this. That wig is probably one of the most expensive things I own, to be completely honest. If you count all the money that's ever gone into it, including stuff to maintain it, including all the products to use in it, and all of that, I'd probably make a down payment on a car with it. I'm completely honest.
I was about to say, when you said $1,500, I was about to say, folks, that is over a period of time. That is not all in once spending $1,500. But no, that's commitment not only to the character, but that's just commitment in general of just wanting to be that role. And what I love it too is as well is because, again, you as Snow and you as these characters, it's you just amplifying yourself to that next level and doing the character justice. And I got to give credit not just to the respect of what you get to do from the aesthetics, like we mentioned, but the commitment to it takes a lot of preciseness and patience that goes into it. So I got to give you credit because commitment is everything in what you do.
Early on in my cosplay career, like I wasn't even like doing it for a job at this point. I was just doing it for fun. I decided that every single time I cosplay, I'm going to find one thing, at least one thing I want to do better next time I do that character. And I would always find at least one thing. Like, I didn't like the way that the bangs sat, or I didn't like the way my makeup looked here, or my outfit didn't look ironed. I needed to iron it because it would look wrinkly. I will pick at least one thing, sometimes 5 to 6 things, and I will make sure I fix it every single new redo of the character. And it's why sometimes you see my characters go through evolutions, like Ayano. I've done like 50 different versions of Ayano. Of like, I tried long sleeve, I tried short sleeve, I tried like 5 different kinds of contacts, I tried different kinds of wigs, I tried a crowbar, I tried a bat. You know, like I like to trade things out, see what works until I can like fine line it down to the little tiny details until it's so perfect. I'm sitting there staring at it like, I've got to find something I want to fix. What can I possibly fix?
It reminds me of something that I've always been told and something that I really look at, and I'll abbreviate this for the folks here. SIN, sin, subtleties, intricacies, and nuances. That goes into everything. The subtleties, intricacies, and nuances.
Absolutely. You've got to really find the details, because everything is in the details. Once you get big picture down, you've got to start getting each individual detail perfect.
But that's the thing too, and I think a lot of people don't realize it and the thing I love with it, whether it's behind the camera or in front of the camera, like in anything that you do, because it is an art form. Everything in life is an art form, and we're all just applying our crafts. I look at it from a stance as well. People don't realize like it's not just putting on the outfit. A lot of people don't realize like the hard work that goes into it, and that's what I've always appreciated. Just the fact of everything being an art form and being a craft, and just applying it to the best of your abilities. And I think cosplaying, not just for the fact that it's just such a great, not only niche, but also a great unity and group of collective amazing people, much like yourself. I think a lot of people get to really see the overall just enjoyment of just people getting together. And I think unity is key in everything. United, not divided. And I'm going to say this right now. I can't wait to see your costume coming for LFC at the next event. I look forward to Jinx and Vi. And also got to give a shout out to our peeps over at Niche Boutique, Brandy, May, and Kim, because I know they're designing some lingerie cosplay. Baby, it's going to be good.
I'm so excited for it.
Which I'm kind of curious myself just to see how lingerie cosplaying goes into this, because it's something that a lot of piques people's interest. But it's like, if you look at a lot of our LFC fans, like there's a lot of talent out there that love the cosplaying. There's a lot of people that love the world of just magic and whatever, because everything is magic, you know what I'm saying? But never reveal your tricks, so to speak. I'm looking forward to seeing how really Niche Boutique does that. And give once more a shout out to Brandy and Kim. I think you two are going to style and profile in some lingerie cosplay. And I can see you're excited. You're freaking out. I like the face. The excitement is there. I love it.
I am so excited for it. No, when Farah told me that we were getting like the actual custom made, I was like, I love like when things aren't just like, most of my cosplay, I'll be real, I go to a thrift store, I find bases for things, and then I cut it up and I resew it back together, because I am terrible working from scratch. I'm awful at working from scratch. But people who actually are able to completely work from scratch blow my mind. They are amazing. I will honestly cheat when I make stuff constantly. I have taken shirts apart to use them as like patterns to cut out fabric instead of just buying a pattern, because I can't work with patterns for some reason. But people who are able to actually just from scratch make amazing clothing, I love it. And I love it whenever like I get actual money to be able to commission something like that and be able to like wear it and have it for myself. I think the only cosplay I've ever made from scratch was a cow apron. That came out well. It was a cow apron. And everything else usually I work with a base from. And I'm just super, super excited to see it, like how it comes out without having the inside be all weird. Because like the outsides of my cosplays might look really good, but you look at the inside and there's like patches and stuff where I've just sewed things like haphazardly hand sewed. But the inside's not what matters, but it's probably going to feel nicer, actually. It's probably going to feel nicer on the skin and not just be like a whole bunch of little pokey parts of where it's like hot glued together.
Well, I say this with everything, like depending on also the clothes and everything you wear, comfortability is key. And I mean, like you talk about the external side of things, but if you're not comfortable in it, then why the hell wear it? But I'm curious to see how the comfortability goes into it and how everything, the aesthetics, like we mentioned, that really goes into this custom lingerie. I'm excited just to see just the overall product being consumed, and you two bombing and just styling and profiling. I know you're both going to look good. Emphasis on the good. And I got to say this as well. First of all, you're talking about thrift shop over here. So you're like the Macklemore with cosplaying. You're going to that thrift shop down the road is what you're saying that you're doing. Okay.
No, my Jinx shirt, like the one I wear right now for my Jinx, is I found a bikini top and I took that, and then I found a shirt that had stripes on it and I cut a triangle out of it, and then I just hand sewed the stripes onto the bikini. So it looks like it's the actual outfit. It's not.
Great. See, I love that. It's the secrets of just going to the thrift shop and cutting. I like that. You know what I'm saying? I can respect that though too, because I will say this about thrift stores, whether it be thrift stores or Goodwill, there's stuff that you can make out of anything, really. You know what I'm saying? There really is.
Absolutely.
I can.
Like, I love thrift stores. There's a thrift store near my house that every Wednesday, every single item is 25 cents, no matter what it is.
Oh, that's good. I like that.
Like, I can bring $15 and walk out with like bags. It's amazing. I absolutely love that place.
Oh my goodness! And I think
anytime I need collared shirts, black pants, anything like that, I just go right over there. It's 25 cents, man. You can't get better than that. You really can't.
that reminds me of growing up on Long Island. Like besides the dollar stores, like your Family Dollars and Dollar Trees, there was a place in Central Iceberg. It was called Solo 25 cents. And this exactly almost sounds like Solo 25 cents, with just like everything out the wazoo and everything's 25 cents. It's amazing. Like it reminds me of that place back on Long Island. I like your style. Like you can't go wrong with that though. You really cannot. That's a good deal.
You can't go wrong with saving money.
Right.
Like, you really can't. Like, do I want to buy one piece of clothing for $15, or do I want to buy 50 pieces of clothing?
Well, I mean, come on. I mean, the choice is not hard here, but I will say this. I cannot wait just to see everything that goes on here. And I can't wait to see what you continue to do from that front, folks. And as well, if we've learned anything from today's show, it's save your money, because that's the most important part, is save your money.
Oh my God. Where are they? I just recently went to the thrift store and I got this amazing pair of shoes. Okay. And I know I put them around here somewhere.
Okay.
But I do not see them. That's so sad.
I was going to say, before we do the closing, you can show the shoes. I'm very curious now to see the shoes.
Here they are. I got them for Junko.
I like that. I like that a lot. Okay. It fits.
Yeah, I got this and a little figurine of a bear for $5.
Okay, that's a good deal. That is a
right?
Oh my goodness, yes. First of all, badass. I like it. I like the shoes. It really goes well. I got to put that over because it looks nice. The print and everything. Oh. So from the styling side of things and the point here, folks, first of all, before we close this out, Snow the Salt Queen, I would love to have you back for a round two. It's been such a pleasure and a privilege getting to know you and really talk about everything that's on the come up with you in LFC and you and just what you're doing. It's really been a blast. I definitely want to have you back on for a round two.
Oh, yeah, it'd be super fun.
Now, last thing I will ask, was I always love to ask people about this, is you yourself doing what you've done in the cosplaying world. I wanted to ask you, what's the one piece of advice that you would give anybody that really wants to explore cosplaying, because it is an art in itself, and see what you've done and see a lot of people getting to really, get to really see the world of cosplaying and just so many creative outfits and styles that go into it. What's one advice that you would give to someone who wants to do some cosplaying?
Do not bite too much off too fast. If you want to get into cosplay, first of all, you're going to need to kind of understand the difference of regular makeup and theater makeup and things like that. But you don't want to just jump into a big cosplay character or try to do 6 at the same time if you're just getting started. Pick one that you really like that's not doesn't have to be stupid simple, but that's fairly simple, like an outfit that you can feasibly put together. Mine was Homestuck, and I know a lot of people don't cosplay that anymore, but there's lots of things that have simple outfits that you can put together that aren't too expensive, that you can use a thrift shop for. You don't have to piece everything together. And work on that cosplay. Cosplay it 4 or 5 times before you go to the convention. Get it how you like it first. Cut a little bit off the wig. Don't just choink it. Take a little bit off, and then if you want a little more, get a little bit more off until you get it worked down to how you want it. You got to think like you're working with clay. You don't want to just start piling it on and just getting at it. You want to put a little bit at a time and shape it how you want it to be shaped. You have to think of it like an art form, Don't bite off so much that you get overwhelmed and you feel oh, I don't even want to do this anymore. Take it piece by piece, and then once you get one character and you get it down and you like it and you like how it looked, use everything you learned while doing that and apply it to something slightly more complex, and then work your way up, and eventually you'll get to the point where you're building props and doing really cool, crazy shit. And it only takes a couple years of practice to be able to get to that level. as long as you're going at it consistently, like if you cosplay 2 or 3 times a month, in 2 years, you're going to be amazing. That's just how it works. You know, it's how practice works.
Beautifully and eloquently said, number one. And also, folks, passion and persistency is key, and the journey is worth taking. And the journey,
absolutely,
yes, and the journey here has led us to this great podcast that you hear tonight. And before we close this out, ma'am, you are on social media. Where can we follow you? Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Promote the social medias. The floor is yours.
Twitter. So there's a Twitter up that I don't have the login to anymore.
Okay.
And so I have my other Twitter, which has like 15 followers now. I don't post much on it, but my Instagram has all my stuff. It doesn't have a lot of my recent stuff, but it has all my stuff, and I'll be posting there eventually. I just gotta get back into the social media grind. You know, right now I have like my actual job that I have to go to, so I'm having a little bit trouble quickly transitioning back into doing social media full time. But I do have an Instagram. It's snow_the salt queen, you know, with the underscores. And then my Twitter is I think it's like Salt Queen Snow. Salt Queen Snow. Yeah, that's the one. Because Salt Queen Cause, I've tried to log in. I have tried to find my way into that. It's not letting me. Twitter won't let me in.
Bastards. And I'm glad you said Twitter, because I'm going to say this right now. I refuse to call it X. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. Not happening.
Killed me.
Oh
God.
What is with like and the only reason I don't mean to harp on this, but Twitter and X, like again, X, like it's hard to call it X because we've like been so accustomed to like Twitter. It's like hard, you know what I'm saying? It's like really hard to try to grasp that, you know?
Dude, it's harder than when Musical.ly became TikTok. Honestly, I had an easier time understanding that like Musical.ly had turned into TikTok than X, because it's like, I don't know, no offense to anybody, but it just sounds like a dumb name to me. I was like, it sounds like I mean, I don't know if I can say it, but it sounds like a corn site. It does.
You can say that on the show. It's okay.
Site. Like, and I'm like, x.com.
Yep. Just
add that.
Yep. Just add
now you can subscribe to pages and stuff that are private and like you see exclusive. Like, you are making OnlyFans on Twitter. Why are you doing this?
Yeah. No,
we could have had a different app, but oh well.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. And first of all, this one over here, bringing up Musical.ly over here to TikTok. This one going back with the Musical.ly. I like your style.
I was an original. I was a Musical.ly original. Back when the page that was the featured page, every single person saw it, and I was featured on the entire app 4 times.
Yeah.
I'm a Musical.ly OG. Like back with like when people's like most like liked videos on the app were getting like 100K likes. That was like everyone on the app. There was like no one there. Back when Vine was alive.
This one over here. Okay, see, now we're just bringing it back, like Vine, like even taking it back to MySpace and just everything, man. Like there were so many social medias, and now we're just accustomed to TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, maybe Snapchat, but like the 3 big ones now are what, like Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, and Facebook, of course. But like Facebook's kind of like everybody's like this, and everybody's more towards Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok like this. So it's
Facebook's how you keep up with your family.
Yeah,
you know?
Right. That's what we're into now. Like Facebook was so big, and now it's just like, okay, if I want to talk to my mutuals, I'll go on Facebook. So I get it. But the plan here is, folks, if you want to check her out on the social medias, you should, because this one over here with her Musical.lys and 100Ks, and look at me with the swag on 100 with her likes, you could. You can check her out on Twitter and Instagram. The links will be in the description below here on my YouTube channel. And if you want to check out LFC, because if you're not, you get this one over here against Farah Fatherless at a future LFC event. You also get LFCfights.com, which takes you to LFC_fights, fights_LFC, and LFC Fights, all the Twitter, Instagram, and TikToks. You get this show on the VIP section, Beauty, Strength, and Dominance. You got LFC Network on Roku, which you type in LFC Network and boom, download it. You can watch it on the Roku, for God's sake, right on your TV screen, if you will. So check out LFCfights.com. Check out Farah and check out Snow killing each other in the LFC game. She's coming at her like a spider monkey. She's friggin' just everything that goes into it. You know what I'm saying? The Roadrunner going to get her down on the ground. Now I'm curious here because we talked a little bit about this and I'm hyped just getting into it. But do you have any final words for Farah? Let's put this out here. Let's have some fun with this. Do you have any final words for Farah before we get into there? Can we hype this up? What are we doing here? What do you got to say?
I'll see you in the ring, bitch. I'm gonna take you down.
LFC folks, competition is key, and we love what we do. As I always say with this show, beauty, strength, and dominance, the three key elements that make women the work of art that they are. And Snow, the Salt Queen, I include you in those sentiments. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. It was super fun.
Fight, fight, fight!